This first email is from an anonymous patron. She writes, I'm a lesbian, and my family of origin was extremely religious, homophobic, and abusive. When I was 17, I ran away, and I more or less have nearly no contact with my family. My whole life has been extremely traumatic. My attachment style is highly disorganized, and my attachment injuries are painful and profound. Ever since I was a young teenager, I have been attracted to fictional stories of siblings becoming lovers. Not simply in a sexual way, but in a romantic, truly devoted way, although I do find the sexual aspect titillating. I have 3 sisters, but I have never felt attracted to them, and in fact, the thought of seeing my sisters that way repulses me, so my attraction to this narrative is completely fictional. It's not something I have discussed with my therapist, as I'm still learning to trust her, and we're working together on developing a secure attachment. How much I love this narrative is extremely shameful to me. It feels like I don't have whatever instinct people have that immediately tells them that it's gross, like I'm missing some kind of common sense button. I want to be reassured that I'm not wrong or gross. I also want to gain the ability to find it repulsive so I can be like everyone else. End of email. There's nothing wrong with you, anonymous patron. It's a common fantasy. And like you say, you're not actually attracted to your siblings, and it's just a narrative in your mind. You know, it's the same as people having rape fantasies. There's a vast chasm between the fantasy and the reality. And people who have people have fantasies about being raped or about raping other people. The vast majority of those people have no interest in doing it in real life. And it's just a fantasy. It's very common. And the sibling incest fantasy is also quite common. You know, everyone has at least one taboo sexual fantasy, if not multiple, right? Whether it's rape fantasy or incest fantasy, cheating, cuckold, having sex with your doctor, having sex with your teacher, bondage, having sex in front of other people, etc. And most people, the vast majority of people with these taboo sexual fantasies, taboo to our culture, would never actually want to do it in real life. People have fantasies about having sex with their doctor, their physician, but if it actually was about to happen, they would run. They'd be like, no, I don't want to actually do it in real life. Some people might. But when it comes to incest, rape, these kinds of things, most people are like, no, that sounds awful to me in real life. But man, when I think about it, it gets me going. Now, you seem to be, you started off this email talking about how your life was difficult growing up, very religious household, homophobic, abusive. You ran away. You have disorganized attachment. I'm glad you're in therapy and that you're aware of all these things. That's really good for you. And you seem to be relating it to your mistreatment. Having an incest fantasy might be related to your mistreatment, but it might not be. Plenty of people who have incest fantasies have lived perfectly, shall we say, securely attached childhoods. And even if it was related to your childhood, that doesn't make it shameful somehow. Some people who have been physically abused will later develop a kink involving them being dominated or harmed during sex in some way, consensually. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just because it's connected, of course, there's no way to know, it doesn't mean that it's somehow unhealthy. And you said you haven't discussed it with your therapist yet. You don't have to if you don't want to. There's plenty of things that people wouldn't necessarily bring up with their therapist. It's up to you. If you want to discuss it, go for it. I'm guessing your therapist is fine with it. But you don't have to. And I'm really sorry if you're getting ridiculed by other people. I think you're in your longer email, I think you were saying that people were not receptive for your fantasy, meaning that you would share this fantasy and go like, am I crazy? And other people would ridicule you for that. And I'm really sorry you're getting ridiculed. It's the same as being ridiculed for you being lesbian. And I'm sure you've experienced that before. People will say that there's something wrong with you because you're lesbian. Well, that that's not true because there's enough of a cultural notion that the homophobia is the silly part of the fence, and the people who are lesbians are normal. They're fine. Well, it's the same with incest fantasy or any kinky fantasy, or any kink for that matter. Consensual kinks are fine, and people on the other side of the fence will ridicule the kinky side. And the people who are ridiculing and who think that it's somehow deviant or something, they are out of step with reality. And so we can look at them and say that we feel sorry for them. They're probably beating themselves up for whatever kinks they have, and they're use it through projection attacking you.